Friday the 13th. What could possibly go wrong? So, back onto the roofing, trying to get these tiles closed up. It's baking hot. It is, like I say, it's Friday the 13th, and it's well into the 30s degrees in the Loire-et-Cher region of France. And it's very, very uncomfortable working um, in those conditions. So I've been drinking lots and lots of water. But you just sweat so much working. You going up and down ladders and carting tiles and stuff. It's tiring to say the least. So um, because I bedded in the tiles so I could finish the ridge tiles off, there's a little bit of awkwardness where you're then coming up and under the underside of those tiles that have already been laid. Plus, you've got these soakers, which are the little galvanised strips which sit in the underside of the chimney stack, sort of metallic covered, where your tiles meet in between those, and they help to disperse the water away from the end of the run where the chimney stack is. So I had a bit of faffing about to do with that as well, trying to get those. They'd been bent and battered when I was taking off the old tiling. So there's a bit of playing around with that. So the tiles I found actually on the front roof, way, way, way short of what I was on the rear roof. There was just so many damaged. So many of the tiles on the front roof were the red, what I've been calling the red undercut tiles. And the weather's just got to them, and you can hear them how fragile they are when you sort of pick them up. And then there's so many who've got really bad damaged surfaces that they just wasn't worthwhile trying to reuse them. So I estimate there's probably about six to 7 square meters of tiles I'm going to have to take from the barn. On the far side where it faces the field, so not the side facing the house. And the side facing the house, when I come to do the barn roof, that will remain in tiles. And the opposite side, which faces the field, I'll be doing in metal sheeting, or tôle as the French call it. And that way it should be a wee bit quicker and a wee bit less expensive to do. So running these tiles in, I've got the Velux still to fit. It's a smallish Velux, but that shouldn't pose too many problems. And then I've just got to finish off the right hand side of the tiling, which I hadn't taken off because I created an opening in the right hand side of the roof where I was storing the tiles initially inside the loft, and then it gave me the opportunity to get them back up onto the roof and across, rather than if I put them all down in the garden and had to then cart them back up. And it's tough enough because recouping the tiles from the barn, you go, as you can imagine, you go down off this roof, you go down the ladder, you go through the house, you go up a staircase into the barn. You start taking off the tiles, which are caked in moss and everything else, clean them off, get to about 60 or 70 stacked, and then bring them down sort of 12 tiles at a time, walk through the house again, up the ladder, stack them on the trestle, and then bring them up to the roof. So it's time consuming, and it's a fair bit of effort involved as well. So, but we are getting there. We're very, very close now to this roof being finished, both sides. The weather had been a little bit unkind to us. In fact, we'd had a few thunderstorms and a bit of rain and various other things. And obviously, the tree guys were there, so that sort of restricted me doing some of the work while the tree guys were doing their thing. But I'm very, very close now on this. So, are you superstitious? I'm not overly, to be honest with you. But it's there's always likely to be something that goes amiss. I've had so much good fortune on this house, really, from day one, from the point where when I came to buy it, because someone else had also tried to buy it, all the paperwork had been done in advance. So there's a guy, it's a Parisian that wanted to buy it, but he couldn't come up with the funds. And the notaires actually um, set back the date for the signing 3 times, and even after 3 times, the guy still couldn't come up with the cash. So it went back onto the market, and I just came across it, contacted them straight away, came down to see it, said yes, I'll have it. And he said it'll go through really quick. Normally, if you buy a house in France, it's a minimum of about 3 months for the paperwork and everything else. Mine went through in about 3 weeks, I think. So I had the luck of that. Then, just at that time, the pound, which had taken a fair old battering since Brexit, just had a mini recovery, and I actually was getting €1.21 to the pound, so that was quite nice. When I came to do the currency conversion, because obviously you're paying in euros for this thing. The house cost €14,600, and that was including all the fees and the taxes and everything else. So it was very, 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 very cheap house. Um, and my pound stretched a little bit further for the house buy. And also, nobody knew whether the house was on a septic tank or whether it was connected to main sewage. And the mayor had said that if we needed to go onto main sewage, they could connect me, and it would cost €900, and I could pay that in 2 instalments of €450 each. And I said, yeah, that's no problem at all. I would much sooner be on mains sewage than have a septic tank. So when they came to have sort of a look round and check it, and they lifted up the manhole, and lo and behold, I was already on the main sewage. So I saved myself. So the mayor said, "Oh, you just saved yourself €900 there." So that was another great bit of luck. So it's just been, I've just had tons and tons of good luck, good fortune right from day one on this house, which is nice. But there's always something that could go wrong. I've had a couple of minor setbacks where there's been accidents where I was going to Le Mans to pick up the couple of the roof windows, and there'd been a really bad crash there. You'd see that in one of my earlier videos. I lost about an hour doing that, and a couple of weeks ago, coming over to here, there's another bad accident on the National 10, the autoroute, not far from Trap, and that cost me another sort of hour. But other than that, nothing too major. So merrily cracking on. As ever, I've diverted from what I was talking about initially to going on to other subjects. So trying to get these tiles in place, and luckily I did have some tile and halves for when I can finish against the chimney stack, which makes it much easier than trying to run in little half cuts where you're trying to fit them across against the soaker as well, which is a sort of a flashing component at the bottom of the chimney stack. Managed to get them in eventually, a bit of playing around with one or two of them. But anyway, got them in, and then I could start working my way down. And then once I'm off that area, I can start more from the bottom of the roof and start going up and along on a diagonal. And that way, then each tile is supporting the next up directly above it, rather than this where the last set of tiles are all flat, and you've then got to lift them up because you've got to get your tile in two battens underneath the tile that's currently in place. But to me, because we've had some issues with the weather, it was more important for me to make sure that the ridge tiles went in and were bedded in and cemented and everything else and taken care of than it was to get the roof in, because the roof's got the membrane on it anyway. So it's already got some protection. So this is the second part, and this is where Friday the 13th comes in. So making, you can see I've closed up around to where the Velux is, and I've also picked up a couple of hundred tiles from the barn and got them onto the trestles ready to go. And I've also had another pair of work trousers there, and I took a pair of scissors to them because it was just I was just baking hot. I just thought, no, I'm going to put a pair of shorts on instead. So I had a slightly older pair of work trousers. So they became my new working shorts. So there you go, bit of leg action there for you. And that helps a little bit with the ventilation for Michael. So moving this stuff up, getting the tiles and stuff moved up, and then you're coming back down to get more tiles and lay them in place, and taking the steps off. And there is a little bit of a video at the end of this showing the steps, showing one of the steps and how they're sort of put together. So somebody requested that. So I decided then I was going to move the video, the camera over a slightly better angle, so you could possibly see a bit better what I was getting up to, not just looking at my back all the time. And continued on roofing, continued on putting the tiles in on the new battens. So doing that, and then didn't realise as I come down a little bit later on to get some more tiles, I catch the camera and the camera goes tumbling, and I didn't realise that had happened. So I'm continuing on until I've finished what I'm doing, and then I'm going to get down off the roof and just check the footage. And I'm like, where's the camera? The camera's not on the tripod. Oh my god! And knowing that there's so many branches and stuff currently on the garden where the tree surgeons have been into, cut all that down. I thought, oh god, I hope that's not buried now underneath some branches, or bashed against a branch and smashed to smithereens, because it's a good sort of 2.5 meter drop from where the tripod was in position. So the things you do when you're not paying attention. So that was my little Friday the 13th episode. So towards the end of this clip, you'll see where I'm coming down and getting some more tiles off the trestle and moving them up onto the steps, and then crash bang wallop. So I hope your Friday the 13th went a bit better than mine, and you didn't have any mishaps to cause havoc on your day and your daily journey. So I didn't because I hadn't realised the camera had fallen. I didn't get a final shot of the roof, so it's actually more or less close up to where all the batten is now, which is good. And there's just probably a couple of meters worth, square meters of time to go in place, and then just on the right hand side where you can see beyond the tarpaulin, getting those tiles off, redoing the membrane and putting fresh batten on, and getting the final bits of ivy off the roof. This is more or less 99% gone now. So most of the steps have come down now as well. I've only got working with top 2 or 3 steps now, which is nice. What else have I got to say on this? Oh yeah, so I will be, and then we will be taking a look inside, a bit of a look from the inside the loft, looking down on what the kitchen and the bathroom currently looks like. Now that the ceiling's come down, I'll give you a bit of a view of that. So I'm quite pleased with how that's going to look. There's still another bit of wall to come down, separating the bathroom and the kitchen, because I'm going to just make a toilet area just within the kitchen area rather than having a bathroom there. The bathroom will be replaced with a shower room upstairs, near to the bedrooms. So it doesn't need that big massive space, just for a toilet and a sink. So the old mayor popped in again today, see how I was getting on. Everybody says it's not too hot for you, not too hot for you. I say, yeah, it is too hot. But what do? You just got to get on with it, haven't you? Ideally, it would be like 20 degrees and grey and cool, but it's not. It's like 32, 33 degrees, baking up. Now the trees have been locked. There's no shade at all. So once the sun works its way across there, it's on you all day long. So it's a price to pay for that. So yeah, so he came in and he was just saying if I need anything, contact him. If I'm short of any timber, and I said I don't think here I'm going to be short of timber. I've got so much of the old joists that I've taken down, the old oak joists, and the ceiling that's come down off the kitchen now, and other bits and pieces. I'm awash with timber at the moment, and then with the pine trees, once they come down, I'll be able to do some things in the garden. So um, it's all good. It's all good. Like I said, it's more good fortune than bad fortune, thankfully, because I've had a bit of bad fortune over the past couple of years. But there you go. So this is nice. It's all sort of working well. And I'm getting organised on some more tiles now, and this is possibly where the accident happens. So stacking up, stacking up, stacking up. Not realising how close in proximity the camera is, and what do you do? It thankfully there wasn't any damage to the camera, so it just continued filming sort of nothing at all as it got knocked. But there wasn't any damage to it, and it was fairly easy to find. It was just directly below the trestle, and because there were obviously because there's actually a concrete path directly underneath, but because there were branches and stuff laying down there, it had sort of a soft landing when it came down. So again, a bit of good fortune against the bad fortune of dropping the camera. Every so often, what I needed to do with these tiles is I get a nail and I just nip the end off it to make it slightly smaller, and so it's not got the point to it. If I need to put some of the tiles where they're slightly misshaped, they don't. Some of them don't sit really well on the batten, particularly when you're not got too much underneath it. So every so often, I sort of snip a nail and put it through, and that just acts as like an extra hook. So you might see me from time to time go into my little bag of tricks there, get the pincers out, and just snip a nail, just so that I can then bed in. It always sits loosely, so it's only sitting on top of the batten. You're not nailing it into the batten, and that way then the tile can still move freely, and it's not gonna crack where the hole is for the nail. So another little tip for you there, if you're coming to do a tiling of your own roof or slating of your own roof, never fix anything tight. The crochets that the French use on the slate roofs, they're very good. They're just like a hook that sits in the centre of the slate, and again that just allows the tile to move with the heat and the cold, rather than if you're sort of nailing them on. And experienced roofers were never going to nail them on tight anyway. But if you haven't got the experience, you might think, excuse me, you might think it's a good idea to get it tight into the batten, but it's actually not. You want the tiles or the slates to always be able to move, a bit of freedom and movement, and not have them tight close together. Because I think that's why there's a lot of the corners, the bottom corners on these things have gone, where the roof itself was wedged in tight, it's like super tight, and that's caused concern. So I think we're finally at the Friday the 13th point where you're going to see a brief. So I'm picking the tiles up, moving, and without realising, I've obviously just either when I'm just about to mount the first step, I haven't realised and bump. There you go. So that's my camera on the deck now. So changing the subject completely. We're now inside the loft, and we're turn the sound off on that, and we're looking at. So there you've got the old bathroom, and the wall that's in place, or just in the centre there. It's not running perpendicular to the house. I don't think the French know how to do a perpendicular wall. I've never seen anything at a right angle in a French house. So it sort of runs off at an angle. You can't see it well there, but it runs off at an angle. And then we're just looking down on the timbers that are exposed, which should make quite a nice feature within the kitchen ceiling area, and the existing tiled floor. which I've not decided what I'm going to be doing with it as yet. And unfortunately, the bathroom it's stepped up again. I was asking the mirror, but why on earth did they make the bathroom floor sort of 5-6 centimeters higher than the kitchen floor? And he said, like, who knows? Just maybe they did it because they wanted to aid putting when they were putting the toilet in, that it would fit in nicely with the soil pipe. But he said, you don't know, there. You just don't know all these things. So I need to take the floor level down a little bit there, so that it's all the same. So this is looking back on within the loft areas. This is going to be where the 2 bedrooms going to be, that side, and the shower room. And then this side there will be the corridor leading up from the staircase and a bedroom in there. So, and then this is just looking down, and this is the weird anomaly I've got where my kitchen kind of finishes not in line with where the house is, but we're a good 2 meters within. And there's my current toilet facilities. There you go. So that's that, and then we're going to look at a quick look at the steps. Somebody have just requested. So the steps were only fixed normally in the centre on the top. So I'd cut them in a way that they would sit. So you've got a bit of batten that's attached to the back of the tread, and that allows it to sit over where there are 2 rafters. And then I was only putting 1 screw in the centre just to fix it to the batten which is at the top there, and that way it's fairly secure for going up and down. And then the final thing is, I was talking yesterday or day before about the water heater, and this was just showing you quickly the components. So you've got your electrical feed in, live, neutral, and your earth. And then this is the valve I was talking about. So this is a pressure valve, so this prevents it from sort of effectively blowing up if you if there was too much pressure where the water's expanded with the heat, and that's the outlet for the hot water. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you on the next one.